Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the return of Premier League predictions. We're kind of hanging our heads in shame, Mikey. We didn't do the midweek. Most people said, "Oh, they're not doing the midweek. They're in a grump because results have gone so badly for Ipswich." That's kind of true, but it's not the reason we couldn't schedule midweek. And it's a good thing because it was pretty poor, wasn't it? In round 26, you won 5-3. Our credibility, if we have any at this point, was that you got Bob on Villa 2-1 against Chelsea. So I think you're 5 up in the weekly. I'm only 10 behind in the aggregate. So that's the real quiz now. I'm resigned to the fact I ain't catching you in the weekly, but there's still something there in the aggregate. Are you back, Mikey? Are you refreshed? Are we going to be less crap this week?
Yeah, we'll be less crap, and I'm going for a record points total now, Ben. That's all there is left to play for, isn't there? Obviously, this will be a record points total, whatever we do, as this is the first full season of doing this. But yeah, I'm going for a big number here. Yeah, it's funny how match week 26 was when a lot of people said the season sort of died out, and have our predictions died out? Of course not, because it's just a bit of fun that we do every week.
And you just said in the green room before we came on, a couple of shock results catching us out. I don't think many people would have had West Ham winning away, Arsenal, what else there? Wolves winning at Bournemouth. I know there's another 8 games we didn't cover ourselves in glory on, but yeah, a couple of surprises. Get involved in the comments, as Mikey says. It's a bit of fun. It's good fun. You can take it seriously, though, if you want, and copy and paste the fixtures from the description down there. Give yourself 1 point if you get a correct outcome, home, away, or draw in any of these round 28, 10 Premier League matches. Give yourself 3 points if you get Bob on, like Mikey did with Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Give yourself the rarest hen's teeth. Actually, do you know what? I was close to a bonus point. I had 4-1. I mean, I wasn't close because it literally wasn't a bonus point. I had 4-1 for Brighton to win at Southampton. They won 4-0. So I was a kind of a goal out from a bonus point coming in there. But yeah, give yourself your bonus point for 5 or more goals. You are up first, Mikey. It is a Champions League head-to-head, Nottingham Forest versus Man City.
Yeah, as far as early kickoffs go, live on TNT, this is a pretty good one, isn't it? 3rd against 4th. Let's try and ignore the fact that the top 5 might be enough to get into the Champions League, and let's just say that this is a straight-out battle for the top 4. And Forest, who have had a fantastic season, go into this game having lost a little bit of form. They did knock out Ipswich in the FA Cup in midweek, which will have given them a little bit of a lift, but they were probably a bit disappointed, although they obviously rested a few players, not to have swept Ipswich aside. They've also only taken 1 point from their 5 games against Manchester City since they were promoted. No big shock results against Man City like they have against Liverpool and 1 or 2 others. As I say, into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, but only 1 win in 5 in the league. Difficult fixtures, mind. City were well beaten by Liverpool last time out, but look like they have enough for the top 4. No European football, of course, because they were knocked out by Real Madrid, so should be pretty well rested going into this one. But at home, having seen it in the flesh, seen how organised Nottingham Forest can be, the strength of their defenders, I'm going to go for a pretty boring 1-1 draw here, which would be very early kickoffy.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? I do buy your argument with the midweek and Forest having to go to penalties on the Monday night. By the way, thank you to the Forest fans who commented on the dilemma of the FA Cup versus the European football. I think that's now ramped up a bit. Now they're in the quarterfinals, and there's only Man City in there, the established elite. Check the video out on the channel yesterday. Somebody, please God, we could have an excellent FA Cup winner this year. I'm going to annoy the Man City fans. Please don't be Man City again, because any of the other 7 would be absolutely brilliant, wouldn't it?
Don't be Man City. Don't be Bournemouth. For me,
I'm sorry. I don't mind. I don't mind Bournemouth. I don't mind Bournemouth doing it. I think that'd be more fun than Man City. I think I am going to put my eggs in the Nottingham Forest FA Cup basket and give Man City that Champions League spot. I know you're saying it's going to go down to 5th. You're probably right. And I'm going to give them the win here, Mikey, just on the extra rest. I don't often back against Forest, especially not at home. I'm going to go 2-1, but an away win to Manchester City. Now, two of the sides in the FA Cup quarterfinals are Brighton and Fulham. They go head-to-head in the Premier League. I am up first on this one. Feels like a bit of a difficult one to call. 3 wins out of 3 for Brighton, 3 wins out of 4 for Fulham, right next to each other in the table, 1 point apart. They are the definition of two very well-matched teams. I'm tempted to go with home advantage, but being they're so well-matched, I think I'm just going to play the obvious one, mate, and go for the draw. But because I like both sides and they're entertaining, I'll go for Desmond, 2-2.
Okay, yeah, I had a similar school of thought there, but I'm going to go for Brighton to edge it 2-1. As you say, really well matched. Brighton, since that 7-0 defeat against Forest, have had 5 wins in a row. Fulham, 4 away wins in a row. Incredible away record for them in recent weeks, which definitely gives them a chance. They score goals, but they also concede. But yeah, I think Brighton are on a little bit of a roll at the moment, so that's why I'm going to go for them to edge this one 2-1.
Palace versus Ipswich.
Yes, Ben, and without wanting to make this about me, this game is all about me. This is El Pentico, a big game in my household. My wife and I are leaving our 2.5-month-old baby son, not on his own, leaving him with his grandma, so we can both attend this game. I'll be in the away end, my wife in the home end with her dad. But yeah, let's actually talk about the relevant stuff. Loads of players missing for both teams. JP Mateta,
ouch!
That was a nasty one, wasn't it? And he's had stitches on his ear. It doesn't sound as bad as it maybe could have been, but I'd be very surprised if he plays in this one. He'll probably be ruled out of this one. Roughly,
even on the concussion protocol, he'll be rolled out, won't he?
Yeah, and then Will Hughes is also missing for Palace. He's been a really big player for them since Glasner took over as boss in particular. But talk about injuries. Ipswich, Tuanzebe has joined the injury list, which, I mean, it's got Ogbene and Wes Burns, but it's also got Amari Hutchinson, we think. Enciso's definitely out. Sammy Smodics will be missing as well. They'll look to replicate the performance at Forest, where we just try to stay in the game in the first half and slow the game down at times, and then look to hit Palace on the counter-attack when they start driving forward a little bit more, looking for that goal in the second half. Palace maybe slightly distracted now by the FA Cup. It's going to be difficult for them to get into Europe with the traffic ahead of them. So, yeah, I'm shock horror going to back Ipswich to get a result here. I can't bring myself to go for a win, Ben. I'm going for Palace 1, Ipswich 1, and nobody's changing the locks to my house.
Mate, I'm going to back Palace, and I hate myself. I can just feel with those Ipswich injuries, it's going to be one of those games where I think Palace are going to win 1-0. I don't think they're going to have to do much to win. It's just going to be frustrating. You know what it's like in that away, and I don't want to ruin it for you before you go, where, you know, you're going to get close to goal a few times and you're not going to score, and Palace are. And that, I think that will probably be enough with the injuries. So, yeah, again, to all the Ipswich fans who don't quite get what we're doing here, I would love to be wrong, but I will back Palace to win this one 1-0. And Mikey, I'm going to shock you here. Liverpool, Southampton. I'm going to do the same thing again, because everyone's going to go for a cricket score here, aren't they? They're going to assume 5, 6, 7, 8-0 or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be an absolute massacre. I think it's going to be a muscle memory job. And I think it's going to be a 1-goal win. And maybe Liverpool will get pegged back to 1-1 and have to, you know, just get there and do it and win 2-1. So I know we're going to get a load of 5-0s in the chat. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that one. I'm going to go for a bonus point here. I think this is a bit of an open goal. I'm going Liverpool 4, Southampton 0. I don't think it's if. I think it's how
Mikey,
many.
You don't get a bonus point for 4-0, mate. You need 5 or more goals.
Up
that ante.
Let's go Liverpool 5, Southampton 0 in that case. I want to give a shout out to any Southampton fans who are
Please.
still watching Premier League predictions.
Respect.
And especially if you're heading up to Anfield. Fair play to you. That's what football fandom is all about.
It's not. It's about shouting at you on the internet is what football fandom's all about, Mikey. But there you go. He's done the SHIT sandwich there by predicting the 5-0, but then praising your excellent support there, Saints fans. Mikey, the Ollie Watkins derby is Brentford versus Aston Villa.
Yes, and unless I'm mistaken, Ben, Brentford are winless at home in 3 whole months, including in the FA Cup. They got knocked out by Plymouth Argyle, didn't they? Everyone's sort of forgotten about that because of Plymouth then playing Liverpool and Manchester City. Crazy, that one. But they're facing a post-European football Aston Villa. They did play a nice early kickoff on Tuesday night, but generally I think Villa have struggled in these weekend matches after playing in European football. But they're as good as through, I think, after the 2 late goals at Bruges, Club Bruges. They're 3-1 ahead. Asensio and Rashford been a breath of fresh air. Just when they needed it, brought fresh impetus to Villa. So they're a more of an exciting proposition now. But I just think Brentford are due a nice win. Villa maybe a little bit distracted by European competition. So I'm going to go against the grain a little bit and go Brentford 2, Aston Villa 1.
Interesting. Okay. I might go down the middle then. I think Villa have obviously, I mean, it's only 1 place difference in the table, but, most people would argue Villa have got the better squad and the bigger expectations, and maybe Villa are coming down off a bit of a trough. And as you point out, Brentford, we had them as home specialists and it's kind of flipped on its head a little bit now. I will go for... Do you know what? I'm just going to flip your scoreline, Mikey. Play a little bit tactically. I'm going to go for Villa. So I'm going to back on the home form continue to be a struggle for Brentford. And as you said, a bit more of a relaxed European affair. The next one, sure as hell, won't be when they're in the latter stages. Will it? That could be a really hard, emotionally draining, physically draining game. But not so here. So I'll go Brentford 1, Villa 2. And it's Wolves versus Everton, where our friend, the brilliant Mateus Cunha, has maybe made things interesting again by losing the plot and getting himself red carded in the FA Cup. Do we know about a suspension, Mikey?
No, I think as long as he's apologised to the opposition player, he should get away with a slap on the wrist. Maybe a 1-match ban next time he's injured.
Stop it. So we think he may be in receipt of, given it's a second red card in close proximity, some kind of sanction.
He's definitely missing for this one, isn't he? And you'd imagine he'll be missing probably for 4 or 5 after at least. Repeat offender.
Well, we will see. I suspect there'll be 3, and then he'll come back against Ipswich and score a hat-trick. Nice and fresh and motivated. There you go.
I'm going to hold you to that, Ben. If he is fit, you've got to go for a Cunha hat-trick.
I've got to stick 3 on. I want to get to that game, actually. So as much as I think he's a great player, I prefer not to see him score a hat-trick in that game, if that's okay to say. But we love Everton at the moment. They're absolutely rampaging on fire. And if there's no Cunha, no party for Wolves. So I got back Everton, haven't I, Mikey? Wolves 0, David Moyes 1.
Okay, I'm going for Wolves 1, Everton 1. I think they've got enough about them at the moment to be able to get a decent home draw without Cunha. And this is partly because Everton have...
Mate, my whole enjoyment of the rest of the season is predicated on that narrative you said being wrong, mate. So I can't go with that at all. He is a one-man team in my head.
Yeah. Everton definitely aren't, though. They've been reliant a little... Well, they haven't been reliant on it, but Beto scored a few goals in recent games. But against Brentford, he started to miss chances, and I wonder whether that bubble's burst, which will mean that Everton aren't quite the proposition that they were before. So that's why I'm going for a score draw there. 1-1.
Chelsea versus Leicester. Did we have this in the Cup as well, or in the EFL Cup? It feels like we've had this one loads of times.
It was Chelsea Brighton, wasn't it, that kept playing
each
other?
No, Brighton, sorry.
Leicester Manchester United. But yeah, 11 defeats in 12 for Leicester in the league. Things just aren't looking promising at all. Lowest XG in the league, and Chelsea have the second highest, so perhaps underperforming a little bit. No goals or assists in his last 6 games for Cole Palmer. I'm backing him to change that here. I'm going for the classic result, Ben. When I go first when it's this type of fixture, what do I go for?
You go 4-1 or 3-2 and try and eke a bonus point out of it.
It's definitely 4-1. It's Chelsea 4, Leicester 1.
Am I set up for 3-2? Probably not if you're telling me Leicester's XG is poor, because that means they don't create chances. And even if you have the super brain striker of Ruud van Nistelrooy there, if you don't make the chances, you ain't scoring them, are you? Yeah, I'll back Chelsea as well then for all the reasons you've just said. I can't go as high as you there, Mikey. I'll go 3-0 Chelsea to win this one. Spurs versus Bournemouth. Yeah, obviously Spurs went off to Ipswich and won handsomely, and it feels like they're a bit better set now in terms of. Have they got any centre backs back yet, Mikey?
Pass. I'm not sure.
I think that's like the one area now where they've still got injuries, possibly, but it feels like Maddison and Johnson and Son and Kulusevski and Spencer's playing well, isn't he? On the wrong side, yeah, they're all back and all playing. But I still love what Bournemouth have done this season, so I've got to give Bournemouth something in this. Am I going to give them goals or am I going to give them points, Mikey? I'm going to give them points. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 2, probably against my better judgment with Bournemouth off back-to-back wins. But yeah, it just feels like a game that Spurs would mess up.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm going for an exciting 3-2 win for Tottenham. They had the week off with the FA Cup. Bournemouth are safely through, as you mentioned earlier, and going for their first ever FA Cup win. I just don't want to see empty seats at an FA Cup final, Ben. Or fans of other clubs going to watch Bournemouth.
Please don't hit the down vote. Just boo Mikey in the comments or something, please.
But yeah, Bournemouth had a slight dip in form recently. But going for their first ever league double against Tottenham. I did say how much I liked watching this Bournemouth team the last time I was on. So it's not like I'm completely anti-Bournemouth. They're a fantastic team.
You've lost them.
Fantastic manager. But they're going to enjoy those of them that do go to Spurs will enjoy the game, but I think Spurs are going to win it 3-2.
Man United versus Arsenal, Mikey, where I come on here every week. Arsenal have got no strikers. Arsenal can't score any goals. They won 7-1 last night.
Yeah. And Manchester United still to play, aren't they? They're playing away in Real Sociedad, which is much harder. You'd rather play at PSV than Sociedad, even though it's
a weird David Moyes derby, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a nice one. That one completely went over my head. That's nice. Yeah, Arsenal, uplifting win for them. They found some goals. Have they unlocked something? Not sure. But they have won their last 4 Premier League games against Manchester United, which is a sign of the times, really, isn't it? Did get knocked out by United in the Cup a few weeks ago. Can Bruno Fernandes carry them to a win in this one? It will be all eyes on him again, no doubt, with Roy Keane in the studio. I'm going to say they can't do it. I'm going to say Manchester United 1, Arsenal 3.
Yeah, I'm going to back Arsenal as well. I think even though they've had those bad couple of results and most people, like you said at the top of the show, round 26 was like the end of the season for a couple of things. Most people are now saying, okay, you're not going to win the title, even though faints were hope anyway. Faints were hope, hopes were faint. That was a good spoonerism, wasn't it? I think they're going to push now, and I suppose is the Champions League the big focus now for Arsenal? They're winning 7-1 in it. That's still right, isn't it? I will take a 2-0 to Arsenal. I think was it 2-0 at the Emirates when they played before Christmas? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
2-0
sounds about right. Yeah.
Right, West Ham versus Newcastle to finish this out. I was going to mention Stuart Pearce, but our good friend Kieran Dyer obviously played for both as well, so we'll go for him. What a player! Injuries killed him, bless him.
Yeah.
Check out brilliant interview with Kieran Dyer on the Blue Monday channel. And this goes down the Blue Monday channel as well. So if you're watching on the Benjamin Bloom Football channel, obviously. Well, West Ham, amazing results again, win at Arsenal. Newcastle, 3 defeats in 4. If this was at Newcastle, I'd be heavy on the home win. But I might take the draw here, Mikey, and meet in the middle. Newcastle are in the League Cup final, right?
Yeah, that's on the horizon. And
how far is it away?
I think it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks Sunday.
Am I going fully in for a 50-50 tackle in maybe next week? There we go. We're not questioning the professionalism of any players, but if you've got a major final coming up and you're a Newcastle player, you want to play in that game, don't you? Let's go for a 1-1 before I insult anybody's professional integrity anymore.
Okay, yeah, that's the first scribble for me. I think
really?
I think I've persuaded myself to go for West Ham here, 2-1. You mentioned players maybe not going in for tackles, Ben, but Lewis Hall went in for one, and he is going to be missing that Carabao Cup final. Heartbreak for him. He's had such a fantastic season, and disappointing for Thomas Tuchel in England as well, because he looked like he was ready made to take over that
Did
left
Thomas
back
Tuchel stay for extra time in the Ipswich Forest game? He must have gone home, hasn't he?
Oh, I imagine he's stuck around for it.
He saw Liam Delap rampage and he was like, yeah, I've seen all I need to.
He's seen enough. But yeah, Anthony Gordon is suspended for that final as well as it stands, and he's going to be suspended for this one. And Alexander Isak is being protected a little bit. I think they're going to just wrap him up in cotton wool. I do expect him to start in this one. Callum Wilson, by the way, has a fantastic goal-scoring record against West Ham. So he'll fancy his chances if he can get on the pitch early enough. Hammer's going for a 3rd win in a row, and it would be a double. They had a shock win on a Monday night away at Newcastle early this season. I don't know why West Ham seem to always play the last game of the match week at the moment. Don't know if they could just sort of do it alphabetically or something. But yeah, another Monday night game, and the only way to really get it bouncing on a Monday night is to beat a team like Newcastle. So I am going to go for West Ham 2, Newcastle 1.
You know, someone will say in the comments that Wolverhampton Wanderers would come after West Ham alphabetically. So
yeah,
shall I just do the pedantry for the comments before they can do it? But we love you in the comments, and we want you to get involved. That is your slate of 10 predictions for round 28. Copy and paste from the description. Get your predictions in. You give yourself 1 point for a correct outcome, 3 points for a correct scoreline, 4 points a bonus. And Mikey's gone for a couple, 5 or more goals. Liverpool 5, Saints 0, Chelsea 4, Leicester 1. Although I do feel if you watch the footage back, I feel I bullied you into changing your prediction on Liverpool Southampton there, Mike. I'm not feeling great, but you probably deserve it after your incredible slander to the great club Bournemouth, AFC Bournemouth today. So it's all a bit of fun and games. Any upset Bournemouth fans in the chat. Mikey, are you at any of these games working for the PLP this weekend?
No, as I mentioned, I'm at
you're at Palace. Yeah.
Palace Ipswich as a punter. Yeah, I'm not working at as many games at the moment. But yeah, I'll be at Palace Ipswich. Fingers crossed.
Nice Chinese takeaway with the missus. Make up afterwards. Hey, you should really get back nice and quickly from South London to Pentti-Smith Towers. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're going to be back late next week with the next round of predictions. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon.